gotten Papayo and Elephant Ear, and
Oh, wow.
some more Colombian variety. As far as what we roast, that can generally change. So for one, our farm blend Full City, which is just literally a blend of all the coffee we grow, mixed together and then roasted to a Full City roast, that's our most popular one. A lot of people have been buying that one, and we can't seem to keep it stocked up enough. Apart from that, we also do a medium roast for our farm blend, and then we have our honey lineup, and that changes all the time. So like right now, literally right now, my wife is processing black honey Colombian, red honey Colombian, and natural processed Castile Jambo. So, and that's probably more in line with what we're going to be going to do in the future, mostly honey coffees and natural coffees. People just can't get enough of it.
Do you see that those sell better, or is just that's kind of where you guys would want to start leaning toward anyway?
Well, we were going to naturally lean towards that just because that is a higher grade of coffee, if you will, as opposed to wash, and our customers also are demanding it. So, like, I was saying our best seller is our Full City Farm Blend, and it is, but we sold our entire summer harvest. So, like, our farm blend was our spring harvest. We sold our summer harvest, which was our honey coffee already. It's sold out. So people are wanting that, you know. So
wow. How much? So when you started the whole coffee experience, I imagine you had somewhat of knowledge, but obviously, you know, 4 years deep, you are far more knowledgeable about things you probably didn't know you were ever going to know. What is some kind of things you learned along the way that kind of blew your mind really about the coffee industry, and then, like, I guess how the whole process of making coffee?
I guess I'd have to say the entire process. I think a lot of Americans think that coffee's just, I don't know, picked and, you know, bagged up and, you know, shipped off to the States or whatever, and that's not the case at all. It's a lot more to it. It's very labor intensive, and just my experience, I get to see how the Colombian farmer has to suffer with lower coffee prices and stuff like that. So that's kind of sad. We in our particular area, we do a lot to support our community and profit up, but a lot of them just kind of live check to check, like a lot of folks here in the States, if you will. So
right.
But yeah, I don't know. It was a lot different than what we thought. I can tell you that. We didn't anticipate a lot of the hurdles we had to do. So, and
well, I guess
it's just been
walk us
one
through
trip
some of
after
those.
another. So, for one, we didn't anticipate having to, so our neighbors, they suffer a lot with trying to live paycheck to paycheck. And so a lot of times we hire them to help them out. And we didn't really anticipate that. We were just kind of hoping to live on our own and do that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of different hurdles. Especially like importing coffee. That is a pain in the butt.
I was curious about that too.
Yeah, it's not easy. There's a lot of approvals you have to go through, and very challenging. You have to have I can't even think of the name of it right now. You gotta have somebody sign off it here in the States, and yeah, it's been challenging to do all that.
Jeez. Man, yeah, I mean, because I kept hearing, like, whenever you go in California when I was growing up, like, you couldn't bring any fruits or whatever in there because they didn't want the extra, insects or whatever. Do you think, is that the reason why that's such a issue bringing it into America, or is it just because it's a good and you're trying to do something with it here?
I really don't know. I think it's probably, they're concerned about fruits and stuff like that. So, like, I tried to bring up just seeds of coffee so I can grow it here, and they just don't let you bring any of that in. And I assume it's probably because, like, we've had a lot of invasive species that come up here, and we're curious about it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, you guys. So, how long does it take for you guys for when you get it picked to actually bring it back home? Like, how long does it actually take to, I guess, get processed or whatever it is, so that it's actually in your possession?
All right, so that's our turnaround. We've been working on that. It's typically 4 months. So we would harvest, wash, and then kind of decide what we're going to do, and then get it to Bogota, get it roasted, and get it shipped up here. We pay for a higher shipping cost because we like to get it here quicker. We don't want it sitting on an airplane for too long, or we don't do boat transportation at all. But we're trying to get that quicker so that when we open a coffee shop, we can have, we can promote, hey, we just harvested this a month ago or 2 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but it's about 4 months though right now. That's what we're looking at. So.
Jeez, that's
Yeah.
the whole quarter right there.
It is, and that's kind of like our short duration as far as planning. Now, we could take our time and stockpile, like green coffee, for example, is good for 10 years, but it does degrade in its quality, which a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I've always heard the two worst enemies of coffee are light and air.
That is correct, yeah. I always recommend to people, a lot of folks won't tell me that they want to put their coffee in the refrigerator. I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. I just tell them, put it in your pantry and keep it out of direct sunlight. But I don't know, some people also keep their coffee for like 2 months though, like a 12-ounce bag. And I'm like, what, do you drink coffee?
Right.
Like, what are you doing with it?
It did not last me 2 months. I don't know. Yeah, that's weird to me.
Yeah, it's a little strange, but I don't know. I actually can't even drink that much coffee. I have anxiety issues. So I was taking care of my great grandmother for 4 years, and she passed away earlier this year. But
I'm sorry to hear that.
I don't know. It was, yes, thank you. It was exhausting though taking care of her. She had Alzheimer's. But so I was running a coffee business. My wife's down there. I'm up here taking care of my grandma, working. So it was kind of exhausting. I was burning the candle at both ends too well.
Yeah, and then that's not, I imagine, emotionally, it's just pretty draining in general, and especially watching the deterioration of somebody like that.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, but she's with me, and that's what's most important. We were actually planning on moving her down there this year, and yeah, she wasn't exactly tickled about the idea. At that age, you just want to stay in your house, and yeah. But it was like I said, it was just getting too rough being in 2 different countries and taking care of somebody without any help. So, but yeah, she passed away, and it kind of freed me up to get her coffee moving a little bit better.
Well, there are pluses to that unfortunate situation. So that's a good thing that you're able to focus more of your energy now on the coffee itself.
Yes.
Now, before this, how did you used to take your coffee? Because I imagine, obviously, you drink it black now because all the flavor you need is in your cup that it is. How did you used to take your coffee?
Well, I guess I was always old-fashioned. I just drank it black. I don't really care for the color of my coffee. Never have. But I haven't had a non-Janssen's House cup of coffee in quite a while. So, no, that's not true. So I've actually been going to coffee shops just to kind of see how they look with some friends of mine, and we generally order a cup of coffee. It's pretty harsh. I don't know how folks are drinking that. It's funny, you go to a coffee shop, and so I ask them, well, what's your medium roast? And I go, I don't know. They say something random, some made-up name, some fictitious name that's nothing, right? It doesn't mention the actual species of the coffee or anything like that at all. And I say, okay, well, can I get a cup of that? Sure. And they pour it. It's a dark roast. It's clearly a dark roast. It's almost an Italian roast, And, you ask for a light roast, you still get a dark roast. So I don't know. It's almost criminal, And a lot of people don't know that kind of stuff. So that's something we always try to focus on is the presentation of the quality. This is actually what a medium roast looks like. Oh,
Hmm.
wow, didn't know.
I think the re-education of coffee for the American people is definitely happening, and I can't wait for it to be even more broad than it is now.
I agree. And that's what me and my wife always talk about, is an educated consumer is the best consumer for us. So, like, for the farmers market, that was great for us because we were really able to interact with the customer or the potential customer and just kind of educate them on coffee, which 9 times out of 10, they're like, yeah, all right, let's try this out. And
Hmm.
that's all it takes.
Well, then the
We've
other, like,
also had
not
a lot of
only, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we've had a lot of folks also that drink our coffee that, told me, oh, I can't drink coffee anymore. It makes me sick or whatever. And then they try it, and then they come back and they tell us, this doesn't upset my arthritis anymore. It doesn't upset my stomach. So, there's, I guess, certain health benefits, if you will, to drinking the coffee, which is always good to hear.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not only the roast and how the coffee is, but it's also how it is made as well. Because obviously French, you're going to get a little different flavor. Regular drip, you're getting one flavor. Cold brew, you're getting another flavor. So there is the multi layers of that as well.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not a barista at all, which probably sounds confusing to some people, but there's so many layers to just simply being in the coffee field, growing the coffee, roasting the coffee, and brewing it. And, we can't be masters of everything, but yeah, we were selling a cold brew at the market, which was very popular. A lot of folks said it tastes like tea almost, which is true. But we just did like a cold drip process where a lot of coffee shops brew the coffee hot and then pour it in a decanter, and serve it chilled.
Yeah. No, I always like that when I go to farmers markets and they have the cold brew because, sometimes, especially in the summertime, you don't want a hot cup of coffee while you're out walking around. So a nice bit of caffeine in a cold brew is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, it was our first time serving like a beverage also. We were just trying to sell bags of coffee, but we had a lot of people demanding it, so we stepped up and did it, and it worked out great. So.
Nice. Oh, man, something my brain just. Oh, so you guys are on Amazon. If people wanted to buy y'all, how has that process been of selling it on Amazon?
It's been okay.
Mm.
We kind of stopped investing in trying to get people to buy on Amazon because at the end of the day, if we're doing 8 different batches of coffee 3 times a year, it's kind of hard to keep that updated. So
Right.
we sell on there, but going forward, we're probably just going to focus on the coffee shop. And also Amazon is kind of expensive to go through. So
I've heard that, yeah. And then I've heard a lot of times they'll just, straight out buy it out from under you and then do it on their own.
yeah, which we don't want to do. We've had a number of coffee shops trying to buy our coffee too.
Mm.
We don't want nobody trying to bring our brand quality down.
True. Also, yeah, you don't know what they're doing with it after they bought it, and people then think, oh, this must be their coffee. It's like, no, it's ours, hence the name on it, and this place is different. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's like so we first realized that when we saw a lot of coffee shops selling Messenger, and then they just literally screw up brewing the coffee, which is pretty terrible considering they're a barista. But yeah, so we're like, we don't want to have that issue. We don't want somebody to realize that they're drinking our coffee at a different place and they're messing it up.
Yeah, I totally get that. So, I mean, you guys have already talked about the brick and mortar happening this year in 2024. What does the rest of 2024 look like for y'all?
Well, it's going to be the coffee shop, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with my wife, and I also have to build a house for her. So she's living in a shanty shack, if you will, and I got to get a new house down there for her. So that'll probably be the other part of my life for 2024 is getting her a new house and they don't have like I said,